Hi, today will you find out whether Einstein was that smart? Probably everyone around the world knows the famous Albert Einstein. He is a popular physicist who contributed enormous works and services to physics, and besides there were discoveries both during his life and after his death. His brain was so immense that there is hardly a person who could repeat his thinking and discoveries. He wrote and patented more than 300 books and scientific studies on theoretical physics, but did not finish his works on this, but proposed scientific works in other areas which have about 150 works. At school he studied well. There were no problems with the lessons, but there were difficulties with the teachers. For some reason they did not like Einstein. At the age of 6 he already played the violin perfectly, and he began to talk a little later. Although he had no problems with his studies, he still did not receive a high school graduation certificate. His main language was German. He almost always spoke it, although he lived most of his life in America. He was categorically about sports, but about sports he always said, "I'd rather work with my head and mind than with muscles and strength." If the physicist did not succeed in something, he immediately took the violin and began to play a familiar melody. According to him, a muse came to him with an original or suitable idea. When he was very young he worked as an electrician. Many dreamed of getting an autograph from him. Of course he left it, but for $1. After collecting a certain amount of money each time, he gave it to donations. His best friend was a smoking pipe. He could smoke anytime, anywhere. Moreover, he was a member of a smokers' club located in Canada. He only loved everything that was real and realistic, so he hated science fiction. After Einstein's death, interesting information leaked out that during his life the FBI was closely spying on him. He was suspected of espionage, so every telephone conversation was tapped. The scientist's son suffered from dementia and was constantly in psychiatric hospitals. Albert Einstein had 2 marriages. The second time he married his second cousin. After Hitler came to power, the scientist had to flee Germany. He was afraid that he would be forced to develop military projects. Interesting to this day is the fact that when the word "we," the scientist felt bad and he became furious and angry. According to the scientist, his best companion in life is loneliness and silence. Therefore, he did not want to communicate with anyone, but he had to be at the age of 7. The scientist had a favorite composer in the person of Mozart. He could listen to him for hours. His greatest discovery, as he himself said, we will never bother to see. Before his death he invented something great and powerful, but immediately burned all the sheets with plans and calculations. After his death he bequeathed the brain for autopsy and examination. However, 7 hours after his death he was abducted by a pathologist who opened his skull and disappeared with his brain in an unknown direction. His life could have been saved when he once again went to the hospital before his death. The doctor offered to do an important operation. The scientist refused it. Alas, no one will ever recognize the dying words spoken by this scientist in the hospital, because he spoke them in his favorite German, and the doctor who was next to him was an Englishman. If the information was useful to you, you can like and subscribe to the channel. See you soon.